So last week in our Thursday class, we started speaking about station management and the 3 pillars of radio. And we explained a little bit about each pillar, but I want to go into station management specifically with you now, and then we'll just break down a little bit more of the 3 pillars in terms of marketing and in terms of sales, because we went through programming in quite a lot of detail, but not so much the other 2. So we know that radio stations don't have a product. They rely on people to deliver their day-to-day tasks and to create content, right? So their product is content. So one of a station manager's top priorities is to build a strong team, okay? That's what a station manager should be doing. So they need to be innovating at all times. So innovation is really important, and thinking and working innovatively plays a critical role in developing a radio station, okay, and developing a radio business. So with a radio station, there are quite a few people involved and a lot of resources, right, to be able to broadcast the on-air product. We've looked at a couple of these last week as well. So these people are the operations team. They administer, they manage, implement, monitor, and they set up the on-air teams for the execution of the on-air product, our content. The primary goal of the operations team is to ensure, enable, and elicit the overall performance of the radio station as a business. So in other words, everyone involved is there to make sure that the overall performance of the radio station is up to standard or higher standards. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at, like I said, is programming and content, sales and revenue, and marketing as the 3 pillars of radio. And we're going to look at an organizational structure of a radio station. So the station manager is seen as the overall business owner. So like the CEO of the business. They are responsible for all activity that takes place at the station. So they take the fall for everything at the end of the day, because they should be in charge of everything. They are the ultimate brand custodian of the radio station. So if you think of the brand, they should come to mind and what they're doing, and they have control over this business, over the radio station as a business, okay? They are the custodians. So they are the ultimate authority of the station's brand, and they are the lead spokesperson for a radio station, okay, station manager. So being a station manager is about being both a leader and a manager. So what does that mean? Management is overseeing the work of other people, okay, and ensuring that the work is carried out according to a pre-established strategy. So managers just need to make sure that the work is being done. Leaders are there to communicate this strategy positively in such a way that they influence a group of people towards their common goal overall. Okay, so leaders are there to influence. Managers are there to manage, to make sure that you are doing it. A station manager needs to be able to do both. Okay, so station managers have the power to influence people as they head up the radio station. But they are, however, only great leaders if they have the ability to socially influence people and their processes. Not all station managers do this or do this well, okay? So this will depend on each different station manager specifically. Inspiring people to do more than only their jobs is a lot more difficult than purely ensuring that people are doing what they should for what they get paid for. So there's a difference between getting you to go above and beyond for what you believe in, and to get you to come in, do your 9 to 5, get paid for it, and leave again. Okay, so that's where we want to focus. A great station manager focuses on inspiring people to go above and beyond, to believe in this common goal in this radio station, and to do pretty much whatever it takes from their side to assist. Okay, so there are 2 ever-present factors that will influence the way in which a station manager must operate. The first, The station manager must consider the business of a radio station. So they need to look at the business. Why? Because they have a group of shareholders or regulators that set targets for them and requirements that need to be met. So I need to work with my shareholders or my regulators, firstly. And secondly, there's always a potential conflict between generating revenue and making a profit versus ensuring that the quality of content is up to a high standard and that it's delivered to a dependent audience. Spoke about this a little bit on Thursday as well. So you are the go-between between generating revenue and making profit and ensuring that quality content is being delivered. So between sales and programming. So the station manager therefore spends most of their time managing that conflict and ensuring that there's a balance between making money and delivering value to an audience in society, so to people listening to them. So firstly, again, you talk to the shareholders or the regulators who set goals and requirements for you or targets. And secondly, you are the in-between, the go-to person to make sure that there isn't conflict between sales and programming. Okay. So with that in mind, what makes a good station manager? What is it that at the end of the day, we can go and say, oh, this person is a great station manager? An effective station manager has a detailed understanding of their 3 pillars of radio. So again, programming and content, sales and revenue, and marketing, right? They lead a varied and a creative team of individuals who need constant support, inspiration, and skills development. If you think about a radio station and everyone who works within a radio station, there are a lot of exceptionally creative people and individuals need support and they need inspiration, and we always need to focus on skills development overall. So great leadership is coaching and guiding and rewarding good performances. So a good station manager has to manage the team, the salary structures, the size of your audience who is listening, your licensing conditions, and the advertising climate. So where are we heading with regards to advertising and sales, and where are we standing as to the kind of people that are advertising, what kind of money are they spending when advertising, etc. Leaders need to be focused on the long term, but you also need to remember that you're doing things here and now without focusing everything, all your efforts on what is happening right now. Okay, so you need to be able to think long term. You need to have the capacity to motivate people and to convince others with strong beliefs. You need to embrace change. That's a big one, and that's a very difficult one for people. People are not, it doesn't come natural for us to embrace change, okay? And you have to, as a good station manager, be able to work with change. You need to have a hunger for understanding your audience. You need to want to know exactly who it is that's listening to you, why they are listening to you, what value you are giving them, what problem you are solving to them at any given time. And you need to be able to translate your audience's need into the content, the radio product, what we are selling, okay? So together, all of these elements make a leader who can build excellent teams that are the ultimate sustainable, important, competitive advantage, especially in media. So at the end of the day, your station manager needs to build a business that has an excellent team or has a couple of excellent teams on it that is sustainable, okay, that has a competitive advantage towards something. Right, that's a lot easier said than it is to actually do. There are a lot of common mistakes that station managers do make, however, especially if they're just new to the role, they're just stepping into this, they might not be a natural leader, etc. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong, or that good managers tend to make, okay? Good managers make a lot of these common mistakes, and they are, firstly, taking on too many projects. So what does it mean if I take on too many projects at a time in terms of radio? It means I am brand new, I'm starting out now, and I decide that I want to make a difference. I need to make a difference. And that means that we take everything that we have and we just throw everything at it. Okay, we just try and change too much, or we take on too many projects over too long a period of time, and we fail to adequately prioritize them. So what have I done? I have taken too much and put it on my fork, and now things are falling flat. Okay. People need to realize, you need to realize that the media world is an extremely fast-paced world, okay? Things change all the time. It's a different type of environment. So often as information from audiences and regulators and clients and stakeholders will pour into the station manager will get just bogged down. They will just be too busy trying to manage everything and every kind of conflict and every piece of feedback to let everything else fall flat. But a good station manager, however, is able to prioritize and to clearly articulate the main priorities to all people involved so that everyone understands the station manager's priority and makes that their priority at the same time. Okay, so you convey your message, you communicate with your team. You don't take on a million things yourself and think things are going to run smoothly from there. So everyone should be focused on your approach and establishing your priorities. Okay, second thing there, approaching tasks in a manner that's overly rational. People aren't rational, right? We are irrational beings. It's just how we are. So a normal business where you sell furniture, your product is a rational product. It's furniture, that's what you're selling. On the radio, your product is the content distributed by irrational beings, by people, okay? People with feelings. So if you approach something overly rational, I'm not going to respond well to that, okay? Because that's not how I think and feel. I am not a robot. So that's something big that needs to be taken into account. So when you as a station manager undertake delicate activities like building a consensus or negotiating, you might tend to lose focus on where you are or who you are working with. But the media environment is an emotional one where people deliver the product, aka the content. This means that you can't manage it like a physical goods shop or like someone selling furniture, like I just said. Because it's not completely logical. What we are working with is not logical. It works with our feelings. So as a result, if a station manager reduces the work of a radio station to very specific and rational-based tasks only, the content is going to suffer because we don't want to take in content that is purely rational. We want that feelings content, right? We want you to bring out emotivity. So to bring the emotive content forward and bring out our emotions in us. And you can't do that with rationality. That is where your feelings come in. So furthermore, the pace of the delivery and the content is really fast paced. So that can be taxing on a station manager if you try to take in everything at once, okay? Sometimes you might feel that there isn't enough time to build a consensus on the one hand, and then to explore all the options of a decision on the other side of that as well. Sometimes you don't have enough time to sit and mull through it all rationally. Sometimes you need to make split-second decisions, same as a CEO sometimes need to do, right? So a good station manager is aware that space and time needs to be created in this extremely fast-paced environment for you to be able to bring in things like the process of media management. That is really important to also do. Okay, so there are a lot of small things that you need to take into consideration, including the bigger picture at the end of the day, including not letting it overwhelm you and putting aside things and time management to know when you need to focus on what. Then the third mistake that good managers tend to make is encouraging infighting. Now, this is a big one for me because you can't have harmony and you can't have a radio station where everyone works together on the same team if you are encouraging infighting. Okay, so what is infighting? Infighting or conflict for power is you and I might be in the same team and there might be a flagship show position going open and we're both fighting for this position and we both think that we have a chance that we might get it. So that's not conducive to good work for either of us because now we're competing, right, straight against each other the whole time. And we know the media industry is highly competitive. It is a really competitive space to be in. So why is it that a manager will encourage infighting? Because encouraging infighting means I can control the situation. I can control the outcome, your behavior on the situation. So often presenters compete for the best slots and aim to earn better rates, more opportunities at the end of the day in order to become higher profiled and more well-known within your community. Which means that sometimes, yeah, you will probably pretty much do what the station manager asks you to do at that point, right? Same way that operational staff might aim to earn more in sales or get a higher incentive or be involved in making massive decisions when it comes to the content or to brand marketing, etc. Okay. So sometimes we know that radio stations run what we call lean teams. So they don't have 10 people that are producers, for instance, or 10 or 5 management members for programming. Okay, they have lean teams. We have one person doing all of these specific jobs. Why? Because we want to deliver a better profitability, for instance, or we need to share resources across the station, etc. And in South Africa, if we look at the stats, there are about, let's say, between 12 and 14,000 radio jobs available, okay, on average, out of a population of what? Over 60 million people. So it is quite a competitive industry to be in. But a great station manager is someone that will help your staff map out their careers, not someone that'll try and force you to stay here where we are at the moment, okay? And give them great goals to achieve, to be able to get more opportunities over time, to coach and mentor people. Really, really important. And people who have succession plans in place. Like, I know if I leave, this person will be the best person to succeed me, to take on my position, for instance, okay? And not play people up against each other. So you need to understand how to deliver the best in terms of value and in terms of the content to your audience at the end of the day. So encouraging infighting is not conducive to any good health for anyone at a radio station. Okay, you want people to get along, not to keep fighting against each other. Then attacking authority and established conventions without being able to consider alternatives. Now, this is where ego comes in. Okay, station manager, really big authoritative position. But guess what? You still have people that you are reporting to. You still have your shareholders. You still have your stakeholders who want to see the money at the end of the day, right? So you need to be able to consider alternatives and not do what we call managing up. So what is managing up? That means I'm trying to manage my superior. I'm trying to manage people higher up than I am, okay? So managing up refers to managing your superior or your line manage. So you need to be open-minded. You need to be able to think and look at all the different viable options before simply putting your foot down and saying you refuse to do whatever it is that they're asking of you, okay? So managing up involves developing a relationship with your boss so that you have a healthy rapport with them and that you are not just trying to manage everything that they are telling you, okay, what you're doing. So as a good station manager, you need to know how to convince your superior of your ideas, okay, because it's your radio station that you are running. So you need to know how to run it so that they can support you. So you need to get them to back you up by understanding what motivates them and what they're simply not interested in, because there are things that everyone is just simply not interested in at the end of the day, right? And then lastly, trying to achieve too much in a short space. Okay, so sometimes you get people coming in and they just want to change everything right away, immediately, okay? You can't do that. We get our numbers at least 4 times a year, okay? This means that the flow of the audience numbers and trends in growth can change very often in radio. So you need to be able to manage the information against the long-term targets and not get distracted with or from rather the original objects that were set. So you need to always be able to keep in mind you don't need to change the numbers right now if this is your first take, your first quarter of the year. Do the year and see where we're standing and then go back and be able to look at both sides and see what has happened, what you need to change then, okay? So you need to be able to stay on course with your plan, not sway off it the whole time. So you need to lead the way in following the mission of a radio station and the direction in which we are traveling at a specific time. So there's quite a lot that goes into being a station manager. And these are the kind of mistakes that people make on a day-to-day basis, okay? So how do you get into it? How do you become a station manager? So if you look in Next Level Radio on page 42 of your textbook, you'll see that they show you there the job specifications for a station manager of XFM in this case. So they give you the job information summary, the hierarchical position as per the approved organizational structure, and your main objectives, aka your key performance areas or your KPIs, and your inherent requirements that you need in order to be a station manager. So if we look at this thing, it tells you that as the station manager, your boss will be the managing director, okay, of radio. Then they give you your KPIs, your main objectives, which is to develop and manage and implement the station's strategy, the revenue generation, develop innovative programming content, governance, risk, and compliance. You also need to do, you can see the weight there as well. So station strategy is 20%, revenue generation is 15%, developing innovative programming content is 20%, governance, risk, and compliance is 5%. Then financial management is 10%. Stakeholder management is 20%. And leadership and people management is 10%. And that makes up your 100% of what it is that you will be doing on a day-to-day basis, in essence. So what do you require in order to be a station manager? You need a BA degree, either in something like marketing and communications or media studies or business administration, okay? So kind of like what you guys are doing now. You need a minimum of 8 years experience in broadcasting, of which 5 years should be on management level. So you can't just walk into it if you are brand new to the industry, okay? Then they look at your knowledge. So they look at whether you understand ICASA, the BCCSA, company editorial policies, style guides, and quality standards for programs. So you and I have gone through editorial policies. We have gone through style guides. So you have a broad understanding of that. Then you need to understand the language and speak the language. knowledge of radio production processes and systems, experience in planning and budgeting and executing special broadcast projects, possess the ability to think strategically, to improvise, and to innovate, to understand marketing theory and brand management because you're managing a brand, possess interpersonal skills, be able to problem solve, be able to work in pretty much all computer packages that you use on a day-to-day basis. So like MS, Microsoft, SAP, Adobe, Final Cut Pro, or the equivalent of that, which is what you guys work on, Dalet, and Selector, that is the playout system and the scheduling system here, and Amazon RDS. Okay, so you need to understand the basic workings of a radio station. So everything that you have been taught over the last 3 years, along with your degree and along with 8 years of management experience, is what you will need if you want to be a station manager at a commercial radio station. Okay, so it's quite a lot, but it's a massive responsibility. That's why. So how a station manager becomes a station manager. You can attain your position with different types of experiences and qualifications. Successful station managers generally come from a background of programming and content, or from on-air and producer positions, and from strong marketing or sales backgrounds. What sets them apart from one another? The ability to develop a powerful strategy for the radio station that makes it stand out against its competitors, pretty much, okay? The need to motivate each and every person working for the station to buy into their strategy. So you need to buy into what it is I'm pitching. And you need to be able to implement your particular area of responsibility and make sure everyone is doing what they should be doing at a given time, and more than that, that they want to be doing what they should be doing, and not just that they're doing it purely because they're getting paid for it, okay? The station manager's job involves guiding every person working at the radio station in the right direction. So it involves building a great team, okay? Without the team, there isn't a radio station. How do they always say there's no I in team? The station manager will need to look at a number of ways how they can keep their teams happy. So adequate compensation, so money, implementing training and professional development programs to make sure that I am upskilled at all times, that you are transparent and that you regularly communicate with us, that we don't have to guess what is happening, and that I don't fear for losing my job the whole time because I don't know what is happening here at the moment. Things seem to be changing, you know. Station managers need to recognize success and need to call it out. Okay, you need to be able to tell someone or use a public setting to say, great job, you did amazing, and use a private setting if I need to talk to you about things that you're doing wrong, for instance, right? And we've spoken about the 3 R's, so retention, remuneration, and recognition. Very important to understand that stuff, okay? You need to be able to tolerate mistakes. You need to realize that people make mistakes because we are human beings, but you must learn from your mistakes and not make the same mistakes again. But people do make mistakes. That's a big thing, right? And then you need to create space and time for innovation because we are in a creative industry. We innovate. It's part of what we do on a day-to-day basis, okay? So these are the kind of stuff that you have to be able to do as a station manager. So if we look at innovation, you get innovation described through words. So these are the ideas that we think are original and unexpected. Innovation described through reactions. So this refers to that aha, that light bulb moment, okay? Innovation described through narrative descriptions. So these innovations come from when we challenge the status quo and how things have been done previously. So that's your bold kind of content as well. Innovations that use strategic criteria. So this is where something like a product or a service improves from its current form. So we do something similar, but just better. Okay. For a business to strive and for teams to develop and become stronger, innovation needs to be present in the minds of every single team member, not just in one or two of you. Everyone needs to always want to innovate, okay, to be better, to do something more efficiently, whatever it is. Okay. So in an inadequate compensation, in a dynamic media world, everyone isn't motivated by money, especially creatives, okay? A lot of them are motivated by recognition. But that doesn't mean you need to be paid peanuts at the end of the day, okay? You need to be paid what your value is at the end of the day as well. Also, unfortunately, you get more senior members of the team versus more junior members, and senior members tend to be paid more than junior members do, okay? Then you have to continually assist them with learning new things, okay? Like new technical skills are constantly being required. It's an ever-changing landscape on a day-to-day basis. Nowadays, it's as good as you need to be able to understand artificial intelligence and augmented reality, which has never been part of the job description. So there are all these new things that keep popping out that you need to do. And that comes with upskilling people, right? So you continually need to develop, and you also need to have a very strong succession plan. If someone leaves, what are you going to do? Okay. You need to communicate, have a clear and present picture of what your leaders are trying to achieve. What is it that the management team is trying to do at any given time, right? Don't isolate people from one another. Make sure everyone understands. Majority of people don't respond well to change. We know this. So it's becoming ever more important that your team understands the truth of what is happening within the business. You need to recognize success, okay? An effective team leader can recognize the parts that each member plays in delivering success without thinking that they are competition to them or going up against them or trying to, I don't know, win their jobs, okay? People are very insecure with things like that. You need to be able to call out their successes in front of everyone. And then you need to be able to understand that people make mistakes, okay? And you need to be clear and upfront about your expectations and by monitoring operations. So there's been times where I have gotten very frustrated with things that other people are doing because in my head, I have this expectation of them and they are simply not delivering. But then guess what? When I go back and I do self-reflection, I've realized the mistake is mine because I never communicated exactly what it is I'm expecting of them. I was just assuming that they knew and that they knew how to do it, okay? Meanwhile, what is happening in my head and what's happening in real life is not the same thing. It's up to me to make sure that what I'm expecting of them, I don't assume that they know it. I make sure that I communicate it to them. I tell them, this is what I need from you at the end of the day. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So mistakes are part of your learning experience. It's the quickest way you will learn how to do something, okay? Where mistakes are made, it's vital that you learn from them and that you understand the process involved, where you went wrong, what you should have done differently, okay? To the point that you won't easily or readily make that mistake again. So how can we better understand what qualifies as innovation? So innovation, like I said just now, can be expressed in your words, through your actions, in narrative descriptions, and through strategic criteria. You always need to think about innovation. What's the next step? What's the next step? Where are we going? How are we doing this? How are we doing that? Okay. So team members come to work every day with the aim of doing better, doing more, finding ways to improve the radio station. An innovative culture involves creating this type of mindset and sustaining it, always thinking what's next, okay? Don't stagnate, ever. So an effective leader can achieve this by creating spaces for people to be able to problem solve and doing problem thinking and taking manageable risks to determine whether they will work out to improve the products or not, okay? You won't know if you haven't tried it. And then effective leaders are interested in people who can collaborate, who are industrious, who have a clear understanding and a willingness to contribute to a company's objectives. People that are optimistic about the future, who have great communication skills. Okay, a good station manager knows the people they manage and they understand what motivates those people. They understand that everyone is not the same. One person might be a lion, one person might be a zebra, one person might be a giraffe. Okay, equity versus equality, understanding the difference between the different people that work for you. So you need to be flexible in how much they can give and take to different people. So understanding that thing about different people, not everyone is at expert level. Some people might be at the beginner's level and they still require a lot of teaching, etc., whatever it is, okay? The more diverse the team is, the better it will be to solve problems and achieve great things for the station. Don't hire 10 people that do the exact same thing, that are interested in the exact same thing. You need to get people that think differently, that have different types of opinions, okay? Different passions on different stuff, okay? So we've spoken about programming and content in detail, so I'm not going to go through it again. All I want to say here is content is the product of the radio station. We know this. So as radio evolves, this level of engagement will increase. And with the rise of social media, we as listeners are not passively hearing what the presenter says anymore. I am engaging in creating content with you as the presenter directly. Okay. And then we looked at the 3 different types of producers, which was the content producer, including your specialist producers, the administrative producer that does the admin, and the audio producers that work with all the different types of audio. Then, if we look at the organogram of a program manager, I didn't show you this on Thursday last week. You have your program manager at the top, and then you have your scheduling assistant and the on-air promotions coordinator. Then you have your show team, so presenters and producers, music compilers, studio engineers, and audio producers, okay? This is from a music radio station's point of view. And if you look at it from a talk radio station's point of view, you have a program manager, you have an executive producer, you have a music compiler, you have your show teams, you have a newsroom, and specialist producers for in case, or for instance, drama, religion, whatever you are doing. Right, so that was in a nutshell, quickly, program manager. Then we get sales and revenue, okay, second pillar. Sales and revenue, aka the fuel that our car needs in order to run, because our car has wheels thanks to programming, but we need fuel to move forward, okay? And then we need a body to look glamorous and flashy, which is our marketing. Without fuel, the engine can't operate and the car won't move. It'll just stand there looking pretty, but we're not going to be going anywhere, okay? So a radio station, like any business, needs revenue to pay our bills, to pay our staff. We need money. So there are regulations enforced by governments and their independent bodies that control how different radio stations may or may not generate revenue, because there are stations that are not allowed to generate revenue. So sales manager's job. So directing the daily effort of the full sales team in achieving revenue targets. So I talk to the full sales team to make sure that they are getting to their targets. Writing and enforcing sales policies and procedures for them to follow. Developing sales strategies and supporting materials to help the sales team convince their clients to spend their advertising budgets with this radio station. Setting up targets for all the members of your sales team, setting advertising rates and establishing the advertising rate card, which we're going to look at, I think on Thursday. Anyway, deciding on discount plans, who gets discounts, who doesn't, okay? Should this be relevant to the station in particular deals or not? Forecasting our revenue. So sitting and looking at the future, let's say this year or the next 6 months or whatever, and looking at how much money we think we're going to make from a budgeting perspective, then monitoring your targets and reporting on all revenue related matters. So anything to do with money from our station in terms of revenue is the sales manager's baby. Then developing relationships with clients and participating in some of their strategic business planning. So you assist them if they know that they're going to spend 10 million Rand on your radio station and they want to see how best to use this airtime, whatever it is, you help them. Okay, you go and you do strategic planning with them. You drive innovative alternative revenue opportunities for the business because there are different ways of making money other than airtime on the radio station. Then you have account executives under your sales manager. So sales managers manage a group of salespeople, all with different seniorities, okay, different levels. However, such a group will mostly consist of what we call account executives. So an account executive is responsible for liaising with your client and for making the deals and sales that help the radio station bring in the money, once again. The best account executives are extremely self-assured and they're determined to chase down their monthly targets because they want the commission. They want the money at the end of the day. They are persistent people. They know how to interpret research information to the benefit of their clients, whose brand and plans they know exceptionally well. You need to understand your client just as good as you understand the radio station that you are selling for, okay? Because you need to advocate on my behalf because you're taking my money and I want to see the value at the end of the day. The sales resources, there are many ways in which a radio station can package their product, aka the content, in order to sell it. Okay. When a brand or a client buys the content, they are buying the opportunity to embed their product in the creative execution of the concept on air. I want my product in this on-air content product that links to your brand. I want to directly link to your brand as a radio station, this positive brand that you have. I want to be seen that way, okay, by embedding myself in there. So this can range from whether you want to be a sponsor, whether you want to do a competition, whether you want an interview about your product or your services, whether you want your brand names in the discussions on air between presenters via power spots, okay, whether it's an endorsed or an unendorsed power spot. There are so many different ways that you can embed your brand, okay? Always new ways coming up as well, especially from a digital point of view currently as well. And radio stations have embraced social media and have built active and engaged communities because we want people to engage with our own media content. So people talk to us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and wherever else, okay? All the new things popping up. But it's critical that the sales manager runs the sales team in such a way that they meet their revenue targets, okay? So it doesn't help I hire 10 sales executives and none of them make their targets because then the radio station isn't making money, all right? And you continually need to grow your client base and make sure that they are happy with the product that you are giving them. So the sales manager needs to develop a strategy that responds effectively to the needs of your client so that the sales team can utilize the radio station in order to solve their clients' business challenges, because that's what you're doing. Okay, that's what advertising is. Advertising as a client has a problem. I am trying to solve that problem as the advertiser. Or rather, I'm trying to solve that problem as the platform that is advertising your product. And then the last one that we get, so now we're at the shiny body of the car, is marketing. Marketing has different aspects to it, different things that we do within marketing. So what does marketing do? Marketing creates the demand for a product or a service, in this case, radio. Okay, marketing creates value for this product or service. There's a really cool example that has been going around on social media a while back of a very talented and well-known singer who sits basking in a train station, just playing his violin, and singing along with that, and trying to get some people to put money in there. Okay, very, very well-known person. But there's no value to him in that train station. People don't really stop or give him a lot of attention. They go, oh, that was nice, and they carry on with their life. That evening, he played at a sold-out concert in New York City, okay, that people paid lots of dollars to go and see him live. Only difference, value, the value that people put in him. In the train station, he had no value. That evening, he had a lot of value. Okay, which is why people paid so much money to go and see him. Biggest difference, marketing. Okay, marketing creates a demand for a service or a product. So by creating conversations and by captivating your listeners, the marketing team at a radio station is creating a demand. Okay, listeners will listen for longer and for more often, and your sales team has an audience that they can sell to their clients. Okay, the most important asset that a media business has is our audience members, okay, our users. Without our listeners, we don't have anything, okay? We don't have an asset. So this means that radio stations are always trying to build longer lasting bonds with their audiences. We always want you to listen a little bit longer, okay? We want you to be loyal to us, to our radio station. So radio stations employ brand management. So this is the managerial tool that allows a station to build and exploit its unique dimensions as a business. How exploit? Well, you see, if you are loyal to me as the presenter, you will want to do what I'm asking of you to do, or you will buy in, you will be giving me the nod. Yes, yes, yes. You will agree with me. You will be agreeable, which means you will be way more open to the kind of things I'm advertising, right? Brand management, the station establishes a brand as a way of enhancing its competitive advantage by emphasizing how it differs from its competitors. So as through brand management, I tell you that I am the better product because I have this competitive advantage that differs from my competitors. So choose me, right? A brand can be defined as the marks, the logos, and the visual attributes that we attribute to certain companies for the goods and the services that they create. And this allows us to identify their brand and to set it apart from the competitors. So you need to stand out in some way, okay? But as a brand, you're not only your marks, your logos, your visual attributes. There's a lot more to a brand than that. In brand management, a marketing or a brand manager provides the brand with certain attributes that are reinforced in the mind of the target market. So positive brand association, okay, with positive attributes, certain attributes that are reinforced into your mind the whole time, telling you why I'm the better option, okay? So if programming is the engine of the radio station and sales is the fuel, then marketing is the body of the car, the part that we see on the road, the part that makes me go, oh, that car is so beautiful, I need that car. So this is the part that makes the car look shiny and attractive, and that makes other drivers try the car and consider buying the car. So marketing needs to attract new listeners through their marketing activities. The marketing manager develops and implements a marketing strategy based on the station manager's goal for this radio station. So station managers, they have goals. Station manager gives me his goals or her goals or their goals as the marketing manager, now I sit and I look at this and I develop and I implement a marketing strategy based on the station manager's goals for the station. Marketing and brand development for radio is exceptionally important in terms of building cumulative listening audiences. So building up our listener space, new listeners, right? So Q refers to how many people are tuning into the radio station on a weekly basis. So how many individuals are tuning in, not tuning in more than once. Doesn't matter whether you are listening more than once, that will just increase my time spent listening, but you as one person can only count as one person towards Q. So while the on-air teams and the programming manager can keep people listening and increase their, like I just said, time spent listening, TSL, the marketing manager and the marketing team is needed in order to recruit new listeners and build the Q, okay? So I'm bringing in new people to build our queue, and from a content perspective, the on-air teams and the program manager are trying to get them all to listen for longer to increase their TSL, their time spent listening. So what matters most when it comes to marketing is that the consumer, so the listener in essence, is at the heart of the marketing team's focus, okay? Everything that the marketing team does should be centered around you as a listener, because I am, in essence, trying to sell my product to you. So in this sense, the marketing team needs to understand the audience so well that it knows how to make them listen for longer. So I should know how to get you to listen. To start listening and to keep listening for longer. There are 10 rules that a marketing team needs to follow in order to ensure that their customer, aka their listener, is at the heart of everything that they do. So just give me your time for these 10 steps still, please. So firstly, the listener may not always be right, but they are always first. Okay? Your listener is always first, even though they might not always be right. Listen more than you talk, because you will learn through listening. Okay, don't just talk about yourself. Reward your audience for listening. So keep in mind that your audience members are listening. So what is it how are you rewarding them? Are you giving them value for listening? Okay. Are there opportunities for them to win something? Is there emotive content that's being produced so that they can walk away feeling like some sort of an emotional response? Never stop trying to win them over, okay? Never get complacent and stop focusing on your listeners. You always need to try winning them over. Find out about the little things in life that make them happy or annoy them. So find out how they feel about different things, because it will make them feel special, and focus on that. Acknowledge that people are different, but that there are always ways to bring them together. So you and I are not the same kind of people, but there are certain things that we have in common that we can use to bring you all together, to bring us all together, okay? Apologize and admit fault when you make a mistake as a business. If you as a business make a mistake, don't stand on your high horse and don't try to defend yourself. Don't become defensive. Simply apologize, admit it was a mistake, carry on. Okay, people will, what's the word I'm looking for? Accept your apology or forgive you a lot quicker if you can learn to do that. Then take the audience into your confidence. Okay, talk to them. Don't shock them with change. People don't like change, but rather take them along for the ride. Include them in whatever it is that you are doing, what you are changing. Okay, bring them on board and use them. Use the fact that they are there and that they want to be along for the ride to your advantage. Then encourage them to share. Okay, you will always learn something, even if it's something that you don't necessarily like. But encourage them to share how they feel about certain things, aspects, what they think about it, because you need to know, you need to have the answers. Then love your audience. They are the ones listening, and you are working to keep them listening. So appreciate them. Appreciate that they are putting aside their time or that they're investing their time into your radio station, into you. So the composition of a marketing team can be quite varied and is dependent on the size and the scope of the specific radio station. So marketing teams may have public relations, so PR specialists or graphic designers, as well as artwork creators and copy creators who they manage directly, or they might make use of agencies that specialize in different marketing services. Okay, it might not be that we have people here that do it all. We might have a creative agency that works for us, okay, that helps us with these things. So marketing managers need to select marketing activities and tools that best suits that radio station's budget and that will achieve the station's QM growth goals. So I can't simply hire anyone, okay, to do marketing. I need to firstly be within your budget, and secondly, I need to be able to increase your listeners, which is what you want from me at the end of the day, to make you seem nice and shiny and special to the listeners and to get you to buy into us and to come and listen to us so that I have an additional listener. Okay. So you can go and have a look here. It's simply a link that tells you a little bit more about how to start your own internet radio station. Okay. And it gives you a couple of tips and information on that. And that's all she wrote for today, folks. So tomorrow we will continue looking at station management. Any questions for me? Yo, that was like a long monologue.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Can I ask, when you're working at the radio station, whether a presenter or newsreader or maybe producer, are you guys paid monthly, all of you?
Are we?
Paid monthly.
Picked monthly.
On a monthly basis.
No, normally there are contracts involved.
Okay.
It's not on a month-to-month thing. It's a supply and demand kind of a thing. So if you want to be a radio presenter, that's normally every single year on year. And the rest is as it opens up, just like any other job in essence.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Yes.
A question. Yes. You mentioned that I forgot exactly like who is responsible for this, but someone is responsible for getting more listeners, right?
Marketing.
So, oh yes, the marketing. So like how exactly do you get more listeners? I understand how to retain your current listeners, but what do you do exactly to get more listeners on a radio station?
That is literally what they need to sit and come up with different ways of doing it. So are we doing concerts, like, I don't know, 6 concerts a year? Are we making sure that every new face that we have is on different billboards? Are we using the new DJs or presenters that we've hired as actual DJs in clubs? Are we making sure that they are MCs at gigs? Are we making sure to push them in the limelight so people can see them? Are we pushing our coolness factor? Are we trying to make you want to listen to us through everything that we are doing at the radio station?
Okay, so it would be something, they'll be hosting an event, actually. With
one of the things, no, that's one of a lot of things that they do is to host events.
Okay. Thank you.
So there's a lot of different things that will go on. It's from community projects to working with different charities, to doing these events, to organizing things with bigger companies, to having festivals, to having events, to doing whatever. Okay, so there's a lot of different things. It depends on the station, where their target market is based, how much budget they have, etc. But this is the kind of things that we will look at. And then we use PR additionally on top of to assist us. In that case, I shall see you at 10:20 tomorrow morning. Enjoy your evening.
Are we gonna have double classes online?
We do have 2 classes tomorrow, but we do our class and we'll break and then we'll start again at 12:30.
Okay.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Thank you,
Check
ma'am.
up.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.